All right. I've been thinking since my last video and events that happened yesterday. We had an awareness protest in my town. It was very well received. Really good. Okay. But anyways, I was watching another event from Canada in Toronto. What really impressed me was the age. Very young woman. Druthers is the newspaper, and it was an event, and she interviewed a Russian woman. I didn't even watch the whole thing, it was so late, but it really touched me when I seen how many people were there. And then the young woman, the reporter, mentioned that the military had some people they were in solidarity with people in the military being pressured in Canada, maybe solidarity with people in the police force and government, okay, who are not wanting to submit to this mandate. And so then I was really thinking about this, because this topic of how we can use Christianity in a very real world way, a really genuinely effective, highly organized, with very specific purpose, okay, and accomplish in a very efficient way many things at the same time, okay, because I am personally not interested in spinning my wheels, okay, and doing the same old, what I've seen been going on for decades, even thousands of years. Like, it's just, okay, it's really time to get outside of the box. At least for me, it is. And if it is for me, then that means it is for a lot of other people. And what's motivating me is genuinely compassionate love and concern for the human race and all the children. And I actually have a theory that women are being dialed up because we have a very deep mammalian instinctual way of responding to what we perceive as a base attack against our children, which is an attack against the species, okay? And I'm feeling that. My mama grizzly bear soul is paying attention right now, okay? So even though I got this little pixie voice and all that, okay, that don't mean there ain't a warrior inside of women. Maybe that makes us like our camouflage, okay? Because we have the ability to be gentle, and I really appreciate that. So I've been trying to think of an illustration or story I could tell that might drive home what I'm seeing here in the value of using our Christianity in a very real way, like really real way. So when I was going to sleep, I remembered something, because that girl mentioned the military and the police and that. And this story is for all those people that one day might listen to this video who have a job somehow connected to security of our nation, whether it be the police force or the military. When I was a teenager, now where I live 1,000 miles north of Edmonton, in a so northern Canada, Northwest Territories, very low population, very, we're talking intact boreal wilderness here, intact predator population, closest to the Wild West you might be able to get still in North America. And so I was recruited. I was very fit. I used to run and everything. There was the Arctic Winter Games, I think I can't even remember when, the year. I was a teenager, and I was recruited to join a team that was Finn Biathlon because they were short some, they needed a certain number just to fill the team slot. So I was recruited not because anyone thought I was going to be good at this, because I was so short. It was very hard for me to compete against people very tall with long legs. Okay? But it was a shooting game. Okay? So it was a game where we got to have a 22 and we had targets, and I loved that. Holy moly. Did I ever take to that like a duck to water, okay? But because I was so short and tiny, I wasn't really considered like, of a high potential to do anything significant at the Arctic Winter Games. So I got given a really old gun, just with the little V sight, and not very good gun. And I loved it. So I wasn't even looking. I wasn't comparing myself. I wasn't watching what the other team members were doing, how well they were doing. I was just into my thing, okay? And I remember that I started getting really good. And I remember the day, and I had my old gun, and all 5 or however many targets, they were these little flop down targets, a little ping, and I dropped them all. And I remember what happened is the coach, who was like for this Arctic Winter Games team, he was way down always with the other guys, the guys that he thought were the potential super athletes or whatever, who's going to win. But he noticed that I got all my targets, and he walked down to me. And he looked at me, and this is the first time he really noticed me. And I remember he looked in my eyes, and he looked at my targets, and he said, "You shot those with that gun." And he looked at that old gun, and I said, "Yes, I did." And he looked me right in my eyes, and he said, "I'm getting you a new gun." Well, holy man, was that the coolest friggin' thing ever. He got me this swank, beautiful harness 22 that with a nice scope, and I was like, wow, that gun was the coolest friggin' gun after that old little rickety 22 I had. And I could just hit every target, man. Like, I could hit every target, okay? And so then we went to the Arctic Winter Games. And I wasn't interested in the running part. I was just so into the shooting part and getting my targets. And I knew, So anyways, what happened is this part of the Arctic Winter Games was held on the military base. And so then the soldiers actually had their own team. And there were these tents set up because it was cold. It was in March, and it was pretty cold still. Everything was frozen, and we were running with snowshoes. And so they had a team that ran alongside. So they didn't directly compete with us, but they got to compare to us. And it was a few days like we would sight our guns in. And so every morning, I'd go out, boom, sight, everything drop. I didn't spend any more time practicing. I got all my go back in the tent where it's warm, man. I'm like from here, and when you don't try to find excuses to stay out when it's cold outside, okay? You get what you got to get done, and then you get back in. Okay, so then the games go, and what starts happening, I'm still never been one to really pay attention to what other people are, like comparing myself. For some reason, that wasn't really inculcated into me, which I do appreciate. Anyways, the soldiers started noticing my score. And then a soldier walked up to me, and he told me, "We're betting on you." And I was like, "What?" And he said, "Yeah, we're betting on you." And he wanted to let me know. And I was like, "Oh, okay." I thought that was kind of interesting. And so then I remember getting interviewed too, for some reason, by the newspaper. And so anyways, I had probably the highest success in my targets, but because my legs were so short, I couldn't, like, I couldn't run as fast as everybody else, so I didn't place because it was a running game and a shooting game. Okay, but then what happened was we got invited, the team, because we did place. I can't even remember. We did okay. And so we got invited to their community hall for the soldiers where they socialize. And then the one nice soldier come up to me and said, "Oh, there's someone that I want to introduce you to." And I went, "Oh, okay." And he was an older man, like a sergeant or like one of their bosses. I don't even know what the rank would be. But he was definitely in the military, and he was one of their commanders. And he came up to me and he started talking to me. And so at first I was like, oh, wow, I was like kind of flattered. And, I just thought he was there to socialize with me and give me sort of like congratulations because I did so well in my shooting. Which up until this point I had perceived as a hunting game. Okay, so from my perspective, when I was thinking about this is kind of my perspective. Okay, that's what, I was looking at this sport as. But he started to talk to me, and then he wanted to recruit me into the military, and I was maybe 16 at the time. And I was like, kind of, surprised. Like, what? You're trying to recruit me into the military? And he went on to explain why. And then he told me that if he was to recruit me into the military, they would like to see if I might be recruited to be a sniper. And he said the reason is, there's a certain percentage of people that have the ability to synchronize their heart rate and their breath and their focus. And he said, and they can take those really good long shots. And I remember that 16-year-old girl went, what? You want me to join the army so I can kill people? That was like what came to me. And I was kind of like really turned off at the time by that. But I want everyone to know that when I was really reflecting on that story, I was trying to find the best metaphor in myself to explain the feeling I have now with this realization of the connection with our Christian faith, the Bible, the legal system, our rights, these covenants, all these things. They're all like components, okay, of things nesting together. And the Bible does say that the time would come when God's law would get written on our hearts, and everyone will know God. No one will say, know the Lord. We will all know him. We will stream to the mountain of Jehovah or God and Yahweh or Yeshua, however you want to say it. And they will do no harm in all that holy mountain. And there was this ping that occurred, a synchronizing inside of me, like my soul, my heart, my intellect, my memories, my observations of what's happening right now, that had a really familiar feeling, that I was trying to remember where I've had that feeling before. And it was when I was shooting. When I would be I would put all my skills together and set my sights on that target. And I would shoot it and I would get it. That's the feeling I have right now. And from my perspective, something has gone terribly wrong in the world. And I don't even want to wait to see how much worse it might get. Because it's bad enough already for me. And being that I have a particular motivation to protect the children, because of my personal views of the potential catastrophe that this out of control frenzy could lead to, like a near extinction, the way I'm looking at it. Just the fact that it's even remotely possible, okay? It actually made me realize it might not have been a bad career choice for me to have taken and joined the military. Because I don't believe everyone there has an ill intent, okay? I don't believe every single soldier is motivated by, a wrong motive. I do believe there is everywhere in our society, people that actually want righteousness, who want a safe society for everyone to live in, who want to contribute to maintaining a world where other people don't harm, people don't harm each other. And so I actually allowed myself to imagine, what if I had become a sniper? Wow. What if I had become a sniper? And I got to participate, had I chosen that path, in tracking down some extremely evil, wicked, corrupt villains. And I knew for sure they were. Not, I don't know who they are, and, like the secrecy they see in the movies with people that are like assassins, or snipers, and they're told to kill someone and they don't know why. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about actually fighting true, genuine wickedness. For real. Okay? Because I know our war machine has been usurped. I know that. But that doesn't mean we still don't have the ability to fight wickedness, because we do. Okay? And so I would like to ask every single person involved in the security of our world, look in your motives. Find righteousness to be your motive to do your job, and do your job to the very best of your ability. And everyone is accountable to not participate in criminal anything, ever. We're all equally responsible to our societies, to each other, to God, all of it. It's not wrong to make sure you're doing the right thing, ever. Ever. And right now, I realize, had I made that choice and had I been successful, I think I would be actually pretty happy with my career. If I was going to be in a position where I was going to actually help, I was going to be able to participate in defending genuinely the most innocent and vulnerable people on earth, that would actually be a really noble thing, a really honorable thing. So I just wanted to share that because I cannot stress enough that, see, I'm not there. I didn't make that choice. So I do not have that accessible to me. So I'm looking around in my life for something of the equivalent power, like that I can do, that I feel in my core. It's doable. It's an attainable target. It's a shot we can take. Okay? I can see this synchronized, nested application of our most ancient sacred writings being used right now to accomplish something incredibly powerful, potentially, because I got that feeling in my heart that's synchronized with my thoughts, that's giving me the ability to see the line of sight. You see, it's like a line of sight when you're shooting. Okay, so that part of me, that sniper part of me that has those harmonizing attributes that can occur in me that allow me to be such a good shot that the military would want to recruit me as a sniper. What I'm trying to say is that is the part of me that is the closest part I can say I see the similarity on how I feel about this other topic of using our Christianity and our religious, the part of us, the spiritual part of us that we tend to hold on the inside, kind of like, it's not part of our full identity that we present into our community or society. Okay, like a lot of Christians, well, at least so far for me, that are moderate, tend to keep that part of themselves concealed, covered up, slightly hidden. Okay. And there's a lot of good reasons we've done it, but I'm really feeling this so strongly right now in my body, like right now in my heart. I can feel it. This is just not time. But just like the Israelites, remember when they took the promised land, the first ones that went in were the soldiers. Not all the tribes went in. There's a lot of patterns for us to look at in the Bible, okay? And to allow ourselves, how many different ways can we see these stories matching the events we're living in now? Can we look at the Bible as an instructional guidebook so that we can make the highest potential choices, so we can have the greatest positive effect to bring stability, okay, to bring calmness, to bring peace, to protect people, to stabilize social order and social trust? Like, there's a lot of stuff that the Bible can help us do. Okay, so I know we got all these different denominations and all these different interpretations of the Bible, and I really understand that, and that's why I really appreciate the history, my personal history, of having gotten free from that such a long time ago, because I've given this topic years, decades of reflection. So it gives me the ability to see it is a fine line, You can get it mixed up sometimes, what's motivating you, but that's okay. What I'm saying is, get a clean line of sight. Can you see realistically how you can connect all this history, this spiritual history that's been handed down to us through the Bible, and connect it to empower you to accomplish something really critically important right now that might seem like a long shot by a lot of people? Okay? But that's what makes it so beautiful. That's what makes it so powerful and so beautiful, is the metaphors fit this scenario. The biblical metaphors fit in so many divine ways, is why I feel so encouraged. I never anticipated, really, in all the days and all the times I've tried to imagine how the paradigm shift would come, that moment that I believed would be like a reflection of those Bible stories. I never imagined that we would also have something like this, an opportunity like this as Christians to use our Christianity. And that's why to me, this is like what we're doing as Christians who are embracing this from a very authentically legal place, you could say, using the judicial system and all these covenants and everything, using them very wisely in a very strategic way, almost like a military way. I just find it profound that such an opportunity is also being given to us. And so it's like that 3-day journey into the wilderness, because I honestly believe the children are in grave danger, which is a mirror or shadow of the death of the firstborn coming out of Egypt. And remember, when they went into the wilderness and then they went into the promised land, God gave them the promised land because the people that lived there had sunk down so low they were offering child sacrifice to their pagan gods. So we have on both sides, we have the Egyptians wanting to kill the firstborn. At the same time, the people that were in the land of Canaan were offering child sacrifice. Okay, so this theme of when the children become the target is something for us as Christians and Bible readers and Jewish people and Muslim people and everyone who is of the Abrahamic faith, who can see that pattern, okay? We, I think, can appreciate that is some kind of very important bit of information being given to us from some of the oldest part of these holy writings that have been given down to all of us, to a huge portion of the globe's population. And we're being called to do something like, carrying a torch of light through a place full of flammable materials. We don't want to drop this torch. We don't want to cause an explosion, okay? But we want to go deep into the darkness, as deep as we can go. And make sure, we got to really make sure, on many different levels, what went wrong, how did it go wrong, how do we stop it, how do we protect the children, and how do we fix it? And there's a lot we got to do all at once. And so this is to encourage all those people in those positions. I have a lot more respect for you than I ever did before. And I know there's a lot of good people in those positions doing good work. And I want to thank you. And if you're Christian, or if you're Muslim, or if you're Jewish, and you can say we can have this agreement in the Abrahamic faith, let's find a way to work together to protect the children. Thank you.